Welcome to the series Building the Author, where every week I walk you step by step through what my experience has been in building an author platform and self-publishing. My name's Mary, and this is week 1. Now, I expect that this week's episode will take a little longer than the upcoming ones, and that's because I want to fill you in on some backstory. The who, the why, the what exactly are we doing here? So as for me, I have always written since I was a little girl. I started out with poetry, I moved into short stories, I graduated to novels, several different novels. Some of them were good, some of them not so much. Some of them actually have a decent premise, and I expect to revisit them at some point. I just didn't have the tools or the ability to do much with them when I was younger. I've even done songwriting because when I was younger, I wanted to be a singer. So I have songs that I have written both the music and the lyrics for. Fun fact, one of my favorite things to do, and I'm totally dating myself here, is when I was younger and I would get CDs, and before that cassette tapes, was to take out the jacket and it had all the song lyrics on it. I used to love that. Words have always been a really important part of my life. So the first novel that I completed was in June of this year, June of 2026, and that is The Siren's Mercy. As soon as I did it, I started querying because I knew that was the route I wanted to go. I wanted to go the traditional route. I had never even looked into self-publishing. But 2 months in, I started to have concerns about contractual clauses that are usually in traditional publishing contracts, and about controlling the rights of my own property, which is my own novel. I definitely want to maintain that, and that's not something that you're normally allowed to do. So I had to map out the whole process. I needed to know what you had to do as a self-published author and how you did it. The interesting thing is that a lot of what scares me so much about self-publishing are things that you have to do as a traditionally published author anyway. So when you go the traditional route, you kind of feel like you have it all baked in. Like you have the in-house editor, you have the in-house design team, you have the outsourced manufacturer of the physical product. But the thing that they don't really give you a lot of money for, or they don't spend a lot of money on you for, is the marketing piece, unless you're a very well-known author. So that still falls on you when you're a traditionally published author. And if you have to do that regardless, why not go the self-publishing route where you get to keep your rights? So all of this boils down to basically 2 things that you have to accomplish. 1, publishing the novel, and 2, building an author platform. Because if you're anything like me, you want to not only publish a novel, but you want to publish a successful novel, and you want to be a successful author. My goal is replacing my salary so that I can write full-time. And that's what these videos are for. They're a way to document the process, not just for me, but as something valuable, contributing something to the community, something that highlights the good parts about it, the bad parts about it, not just the successes, not just the positive parts, but everything, including the messy middle, the failures, the decisions, the I don't knows, the research moments, the wow, I really messed up here's. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, like and subscribe. So let's talk about the platform first. As I mentioned, I want this to be something valuable, something that allows a way to connect with the community, to hopefully build excitement around a product, which is the novel, but it's difficult for me. So I'm not much of a consumer of social media. I'm a Pinterest girl. I could spend hours on Pinterest. But as for the rest of them, I don't really know that. I don't edit videos either, and I tend to be very private. So sharing my life is a scary step, and it really takes strategy if we're being honest. I also have concern about visibility and the mean comments. I know they're coming. It is part of the online world, and I would be naive not to expect that. So for me, the platform really falls into 5 different buckets because, as I said, it takes a strategy. The first bucket is books. Seems kind of obvious. Books I'm reading, what I think about them, books I've read, books I want to read. I am a sucker for a good book stack. So yeah, you'll be seeing some of those. The second bucket is publishing, because that's what we're here for. The third bucket is writing. While I am working on publishing and my platform and wearing all the other hats that I wear, I'm also going to be writing because I've started working on my next novel, and I don't want that to pause while I'm doing all of this. I don't want to lose momentum. So maybe interesting research tidbits or random thoughts about the novel itself, maybe challenges I'm facing. The fourth bucket is Copper Cottage. That's our home here. We have been working on fixing it up, and the reason I decided to include this is because it's not just like a home improvement thing. I guarantee you there will be nothing here that is done in like 2 days. Every project is going to take months, not years. But everything that we are trying to build is about atmosphere. I love atmosphere, both on the page and off the page. I want to immerse myself in a very specific atmosphere, and that's really what we're trying to do here, is to create an atmosphere. So for me, it feels like it's related. I think it's also a good way for you to get to know me without being too invasive. And everyone has an opinion about updating and what to update and how things are going, so it's a great way to build community. At least in my head it is. I hope that's true. The fifth bucket is Bristol. Bristol is our 6-year-old Great Pyrenees. She's neurotic, as all Great Pyrenees are. She barks a lot at everything, all the time, day and night. And then while I do kind of have a sixth bucket, which I called Wild Card, there's nothing really strategic about it. It's just random stuff I feel is applicable to a bookish account. One thing I do know is that I don't want any of the platforms or any of the posting to feel like a performance. Nothing is a performance. I am not an actress. You probably guessed that, didn't you? So everything that you see, completely 100% real. And, well, I guess it's scripted because I have to script these out, otherwise I babble endlessly. Oh, it's an airplane. What I've done this week, I had to decide on the platforms. As I mentioned, I'm a Pinterest girly. That's an easy win for me. But when I started this process, I did start an Instagram account so I could document the process of querying. It seemed only natural. I would continue there. So I have Pinterest, I have Instagram, and it's really easy to take the videos that I make for Instagram and post them to YouTube. So I have 3 platforms. I also had to decide on the buckets, as I call them, what I'm going to post so I do not become too intrusive. I also wanted to look up the schedules for the best time to post. Now, if you have a following, you should go off of the time that your followers are engaging with you. I have like 18 followers, and half of them are family. So I'm starting from scratch, which is totally fine. I'm going off of the general timelines for posting, and we'll reevaluate after a couple months and see if I need to adjust. I decided on 4 times, posting 4 times a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And it'll just kind of be a rotation of stuff. Bristol, Copper Cottage, book stack, what I'm thinking about writing. That's pretty much the gist of it. I also made covers for this series, and I started doing a monthly book review, and I want to keep doing that, so I made a cover for that too. So hopefully everything looks a little more professional. I know it's not perfect. As I'm filming this video, there are so many things I know are not right about it, and the noise for one. Like, it's not a soundproof studio. I don't want to film inside while it's beautiful outside. But I'm also giving myself a little grace because it's not realistic for me to learn everything in 1 week. Not only am I trying to build a platform and publish a novel, I work a 9 to 5. I'm a mother of 2 children who are still in school. As I mentioned, we're trying to fix up Copper Cottage, and I have a ton of other obligations. It's okay if I don't have it perfect. My goal is to improve, to get it to a place where I feel really comfortable with it. And that's not, for me, going to be in a week. Now, my to-do list, post. My goal really is to just post 4 times this week, because my concern is that I am not going to remember to do it, or I'm going to fail at it in some way. And I do want to continue looking around for maybe a better stationary place to film, because while I enjoy being outside, as I mentioned, there's the sound issue, someone hammering over there. It would be nice to have a solid place to just know that I'm ready to go. So that's a possibility. I'm going to continue learning the video editing. I'm hoping by the time this video posts that I have figured out how to interject little slides and, like, I don't know what they're called, but like images that say to-do list, and then I start talking about the to-do list. So It's not a cover. I'll figure it out. And then comment. This is something that I have also seen is a very positive way to interact and build a community, is to comment on other people's posts. Now, I do a lot of liking. If I like something, I click it. But I, in the past, have not seen a lot of value in just like saying, I like this. As a creator, I totally get why it matters, but that is outside of my wheelhouse. So we'll see if I do that. All right, now the self-publishing. This is the less scary part, but it's also the less intuitive part for me. I wanted to make sure that Tuesdays were still the days that books are published, and they are. Just some random information I had hanging around in my brain. But they also have specific types of year that they publish books based on the genre that you're publishing. And this mostly holds true for my book, which is historical fiction with speculative elements, mythic undertones, and a slow burn romantic arc. It's still solidly historical fiction. The best time to post or to publish that is September and October, which I was really excited about because I love fall and it just felt perfect to me, like the stars were aligning, but it's not going to be ready by then. So the second best time to publish historical fiction is mid-March through mid-May. So I have decided on April 6th of 2027 to be my publication date. That gives me a little leeway if I need to push it back, if something doesn't go according to plan. And if I do happen to be ready early, maybe I'll move it a little earlier, but I think that's a solid date, April 6th. I also wanted to do some self-editing before I sent it off to be edited, because that is basically the number one thing that I have to do is get it edited before everything else can fall into place. Now, just a note about the self-editing. I thought my novel was in a really good place. I have self-edited it about 12 times, and when I picked it up after it was sitting for about 2 months, I realized there were things I was not happy about, and I had to change them. But then I started thinking, am I just caught in this weird, never-ending edit type of loop, which is a real thing, because your novel is never really finished. Like, you can edit indefinitely. I think it's honestly a little bit of both that, the never-ending loop, but also I think there are legitimate things that need to be fixed or worked upon. And that's where a different set of eyes comes in. That's where the developmental editor and the line editor come in. So what I've done, I found a site called Reedsy, REEDSY.com. Reedsy allows you to find people to help you with the self-publishing process, and that includes editors. So I have reached out to some editors who do developmental editing, and I've heard back from 3 of them, which is exciting. I am hoping that one of them does end up working out. This was like my dream editor list, because I went through quite a few and these 4 really stood out to me, so I'm really happy to work with any of them. What it's really going to come down to is price and attitude. And what I mean by attitude is, do we get along? Are we on the same page? Because I think it's really important to Bristol is having opinions inside, and my husband just told her to shut up. I don't know if you heard that, but see, opinionated. So anyway, I'm really excited to work with any of these 4. It's going to come down to price and attitude. I've said that, I'm just repeating it. My to-do list. I want to continue the self-edits before I send off the manuscript. Now there are, I think, some bigger things, and I'm going to leave notes within the manuscript for the editor to look at. But I think there are quite a few small things that I can fix up in the meantime to make it as strong as possible before she gets her hands on it. So that's one of my main goals before we get to the editing piece. So that's where I am. I don't expect that every week is going to be as eventful as this week, but this week was really more than a week because it contains a lot of backstory. So I'm definitely excited to share my progress as we go along, and I thank you very much for watching.